Hey everyone, welcome to my session. Today I'm going to speak to you about how ICP research has transformed our company. So let's get this started. I've been founding Omniconvert, and in the last 7 years, we've helped a lot of companies on this planet to convert more by using our CRO platform. But that wasn't the case at the beginning because my initial mentality was like this: if we are not converting enough trials into customers, we are developing new features. So the solution as a product owner and or a product founder is to develop new features. If you don't know why you are not growing, you continue to develop new features. If the customer acquisition cost is too high, then you develop new features as well. And the response for customers that are churning too fast was to develop new features. So I've been doing this downward spiral for 2 years in a row. And that was kind of frustrating. And I think that's has to do a lot with the mentality of the founders of these products, because there are two types of product founders: the ones which are crafting a product as they envisioned it, and then they go to market and to try to bend the market to their product, and the product founders which are analyzing the problems and the needs from the market, and then they decide to craft products to solve those problems. So the better outcome, if you are not converting enough trials into customers, is to adapt to the market and to investigate so that you can identify your ideal customer profile. If you don't know why you are not growing, you need to do a deep dive into your funnel from top to bottom and to investigate your ICP as well. If the time to close a customer is too high, you need to test to find out new channels and to do pricing tweaks. If the customers are churning too fast, you need to find out the real jobs to be done by your ICPs and adjust your product accordingly. So this is the strategy that we've been going through, and I'm going to walk you to our process and to our discoveries among these last 5 years, so that you can at least get some shortcuts and not to suffer like me and my team used to do. So the problem is that if all you have is a hammer, so if your mentality is like this one, everything looks like a nail. So if you are used to craft products and to add new features and to develop the roadmap, all you'll have to do and all you are doing is, instead of taking a few steps back and investigate what's going on with the customers' feedback and with the features and everything, is to continue to add new features. And that's a trap that we must escape from. So persistence can be a trap if you insist in the wrong direction. So you need to know your ideal customer profile before acquiring or changing your product, before adjusting or changing your product. So that's our story. Back in 2016, we got funded. So we thought, okay, let's make sales happen because we've got product market fit, and my first choice was to hire more sales. So after a few months, when we succeeded to add new people, we've got like 6 account execs and 8 calls per day, while we were doing ping pong championships. So that wasn't correct, right? So that must be wrong, we thought. And back in November, we were bleeding money. So if we look at this red line, actually was the revenue. So we have to change the route. We have to change things around. So the outcome here from our own experience is that more salespeople doesn't always mean more sales. So you need to scale only after you nail the channel market fit. And I think that was our biggest mistake. In 2016, when we took those steps back, we realized that the real revenue churn was our problem, because it's misleading to look at the customer churn, and the best way to understand what's going on with the revenue is looking at the revenue churn. So back in 2016, 18.9% churn. That was incredibly high. So we've started to do customer segmentation to understand which are our best customers. So we've broke down the customers by location, and we looked at things like the share of revenue, the share of websites, the share of usage out of the total usage of the product, and then the share of support tickets. So we looked at this data, and it was kind of clear that most of the revenue and the number of websites was coming from the US and Europe. So no surprise over here. But when we look at the company type, according to the data, like we got e-commerce, lead generation websites, e-commerce websites, agency, software as a service, and other type of websites. And when we look at the share of the revenue and the share of usage, we realized that the e-commerce and the lead generation were the biggest ones. However, the longest lifetime span was coming from the agencies and the e-commerce companies. So going further, the customer segmentation by the company size, we've made this as well, and we realized that, hey, we got these two types of customers. Yeah, the customers with less than 200 employees, which we call B customers, and then customers with more than 200 employees. And when we looked at this data, ta-da, Pareto is there. So 21% of the customers generated 77% of the revenue, while they were also generating 18% of the support tickets, and they were using only 42% of the total. So then we've made this customer segmentation by the subscription period, and we looked at these types of customers, right? So we've got capped traffic, we've got advanced payments, we had monthly plans, and we got annual plans. And that was a surprise for us, because even though only 13% of the customers were paying annual, they made for 42% of the total revenue. So that was another important insight for us. And then we looked at the level of assistance. So we've got two types of customers, the self-served and the managed ones. And when we looked at the customers that needed our attention, some sort of a premium support and initial onboarding, we've seen that the Pareto was respected as well. So 74% of the revenue came from the managed customers, with a total lifetime span of 27 months against 9 months as the self-served customers. And then we've made this customer segmentation by the acquisition channel. No surprise here in terms of the revenue, but the inbound customers had the 3 times higher lifetime span, which was kind of amazing for us, and that made us realize that we need to double down on the content creation and do in the education as well. Then we looked at the type of features that our previous customers were using, and we've got A/B testing only, we've got website personalization, we've got overlays and surveys, and all the features. So that was also an interesting aspect, because we thought that bundling everything together in the product, like adding surveys, adding overlays, will make up for a larger revenue. But fact was that most of the customers were using personalization and A/B testing, or A/B testing only. So that was why the customers were using our product. So after aggregating all this data together, we've got our aha moment. So one ICP, one ideal customer profile, generated profit as much as 276 average customers. So it was not fair, but actually it wasn't smart for us to treat everyone the same. So our ICP was like e-commerce or agencies from US and Europe, has a budget for optimization, was using A/B testing and website personalization, and the acquisition channels were inbound and LinkedIn outreach, and he paid annually. So we've changed our perspective and our focus from all markets to US and Europe, from all verticals to agencies and e-commerce. We've become, instead of being positioned as a software as a service, to be more like a service as a software, because it was misleading to have a unique value proposition like same traffic, more conversions. That was at that time, because we were actually lying. It wasn't the case with only our tool. So they got to more conversions with the same traffic, not only using our software, but having the know-how to actually do it. And that's why we've added this kind of premium support services, so that they can know what to do with it. So, and from companies of all sizes, we've migrated to mid-size and enterprise companies. And so mainly, instead of more features, all targets, all markets mentality, we migrated and we've shifted towards solving real problems of our ICP better mentality. So Knowledge helped retention. So 2 years after, our revenue churn was 2.7%. That was 89% less than it used to be before, by doing these changes according to our ICP. But that only increased our appetite for more knowledge. So we continued to ask our customers what they are struggling with. And we found this, for instance. We generate orders, we bring traffic, but we lose 70% of the customers. So that was another ta-da when it struck back. So the e-commerce companies are losing customers too. That was our first finding. The second finding was that the personalization works way better with first-party data, because those customers which had this customer retention problem, they've managed to build an RFM segmentation so that they can craft their offering and their communication according to the segment of the customers. That was the second insight. And the third one was that CRO is not enough to help e-commerce companies grow, and we need to pivot. So at that moment, we've seen the competition as well. We've seen the traction that we had, and we've seen the problems that our customers were facing, and we've decided to focus on e-commerce companies and to pivot. So we applied the same recipe to help our e-commerce customers. So we've seen how the process of improving customer retention looked for an e-commerce. So they were doing these steps: segmenting the customers, doing customer research like surveying the best customers, the worst ones, and so on, to find the ICP. And then they've got to three main directions: the optimization of the customer journey, so that they can provide a better customer experience, so that they can amplify the network effect and to also have those customers coming back. Improving the customer acquisition, so that they can attract customers that are looking like the ICP. And then improving the product assortment, like seeing the products which are the best ones and that are not churning their customers. And the next chapter was, of course, to constantly monitor the performance and ongoing optimization. So we've decided consciously, by working with a few early adopters, adopting customers, to do RFM segmentation. So RFM stands for recency, frequency, and monetary value. Thanks to this kind of segmentation, you could give this kind of scores like recency, frequency, and monetary value scores. Like, imagine that those customers bought many times because they have the highest scores, score on frequency, 5 out of 5. They have high monetary values, 5 out of 5 on the monetary score, and also they've bought a long time ago, so they had the lowest score in terms of the recency, 155. But there are also the Don Juans, let's say, that have the best score in the recency, the worst score in the recency. They've bought a long time ago, only once, but high monetary values. So according to this kind of data, those customers can actually investigate and find out which are their best customers, their ideal customers that have the highest scores in the recency, frequency, and the monetary value. So in case you want to get in touch with me, these are my I'm really active on LinkedIn. That's our website. Thank you for your time, and I'm looking forward to hear your feedback and to get in touch with you.